send everybody a copy of a letter came in on email today regarding the variance on Gibsons Way. So I sent it to everybody so that I thought it had actually gone to council. I was just getting a copy, but I see it's was just addressed to me.
I actually got one as well. I got that as well, Mayor Beamish.
Did you? Okay.
So Lori, I forwarded it to Lori and she will share the screen and we will read it out during the meeting.
Okay.
Rebecca?
Yes?
This submission is for 682 Gibsons Way.
Oh, it's for the wrong property.
Yeah, it's not for this hearing.
It's for the variance, this evening.
Thank you. My mistake. I'm sorry. I thought it was for the public hearing.
No problem. Great.
You are now live on YouTube and you have quorum.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the public hearing for Tuesday, October 5th, 2021, with the town of Gibsons. And we're meeting this evening in the traditional territory of the Squamish Nation. Public hearing will give people an opportunity to be heard on the issues. In this case, it is on a rezoning application for lot 37 on Wright Road from single family to two-family residential. So there is a very specific process that we follow on public hearings, so that I have to go through that process with you. And then during the hearing, after the staff have reported to council on information, you will have an opportunity to contribute to the conversation. So I call to order this public hearing at 6 p.m. Tuesday, October 5, 2021. Good evening and welcome to this public hearing being held electronically as authorized by Ministerial Order number M192, Local Government Meetings and Bylaw Process COVID-19 Order number 3. I would like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional territory of the Squamish Nation. This public hearing is being held to consider zoning amendment bylaw number 1065-63 to rezone the property located at lot 37 Wright Road from single family to two-family residential, zone 3 to cluster residential, to allow a cluster residential development comprised of 18 townhouse units in 5 separate buildings. I will introduce the council members present this evening. Councillor Celia Ladwig, Deputy Mayor Anne-Marie Andrade, Councillor David Kroll. Staff members also present this evening are Mark Brown, the interim CIO, Rebecca Anderson, the corporate officer, Leslie Ann Statz, the director of planning, and Lori Musselman, the recording secretary. I am Mayor Bill Beamish and chair of this evening's proceedings. All persons who believe their interests are affected by the proposed bylaw shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matters contained in the proposed bylaw, or to submit their written submissions to the corporate officer before tonight's hearing is adjourned. Under the Local Government Act, the chair of a public hearing is entitled to make procedural rules for the conduct of the public hearing. For this hearing, we will use the following protocol. Persons wishing to speak during this public hearing are invited to use the raise hand feature by clicking on the hand icon found at the bottom of your screen. The meeting administrator will then add you to the speakers list, and you will be able to unmute and turn on your video when it's your turn to speak. Please identify yourself clearly, stating your name and residential address before beginning to address council. Speakers are allowed up to 5 minutes to make their presentation and may not transfer all or part of their allotted time to another speaker. Members of council are present to hear your submissions and not to answer questions or debate the merits of the bylaw under consideration. Council members may ask for clarification from members of the public after their submissions, and would ask them to do that through me as well. Persons wishing to speak a second time may do so only after all other persons wishing to speak have been provided the opportunity to speak for a first time. Persons speaking a second time will be limited to 3 minutes. A written submission may be submitted by email to clerk@gibsons.ca in lieu of speaking, provided it is received prior to the close of the public hearing. All written submissions will be circulated to council and will become part of the public record. Leslie Ann Stats, Director of Planning, will now introduce the proposed zoning amendment bylaw.
Thank you, Mayor. So this application is to rezone Lot 37, located on the corner of Wright Road and Celia Crescent, in the new and final phase of the Parkland subdivision. The zoning is proposed to change from the existing single-family and two-family residential zone 3, R3, which currently allows a single-family dwelling or a duplex, to a cluster residential zone, which is RCL, which would allow for the proposed 18-unit cluster development in 5 separate townhouse buildings. The RCL zone allows a mix of single-family, duplex, townhouse, and apartment buildings. The bylaw amendment also proposes to remove section 9.794, which requires, quote, the maximum net floor area of the second floor to be 80% of the first floor, end quote. The intent of this provision is to minimize the size of the second story, which is also in the development permit area design guidelines and is therefore redundant. The provision has proven to disincentivize hiding parking garages within a home, which also contradicts the intention of the pedestrian-oriented design guidelines. The community amenity contribution offer includes a $56,000 cash contribution towards the town's general amenity and affordable housing reserve fund, and 4 of the proposed units in one building will be retained by the developer as purpose-built market rental housing units. The bylaw was given first and second readings on September 21st, 2021. The resolution to hold a public hearing today was adopted by Council on September 21st, 2021, and a notice of public hearing was advertised in the Coast Reporter on September 24th and October 1st. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I will now ask the corporate officer, Rebecca Anderson, to note and present any written submissions received to date regarding the proposed zoning amendment bylaw.
Thank you, Mayor Beamish. There were 8 written submissions received from 10 individuals in opposition of the proposed bylaw, and 4 submissions received from 5 individuals in support of the proposed bylaw. These submissions were included in the agenda published after 12:00 p.m. today, October 5th, 2021. There were no additional written submissions received after the publication of the agenda at 12:00 p.m. today. As noted, individuals may choose to forward written submissions via email to clerk, C-L-E-R-K, @gibsons.ca up to the close of the hearing. Those submissions will be collated at adjournment and circulated to council for consideration. Thank you, Mayor Beamish.
Thank you. Okay, we have your written submissions, which I have read and very interesting, but we now also want to give an opportunity for anybody to present any information, to speak for or against the proposed zoning amendment bylaw. And I will ask for a first time if there anybody who wishes to speak in support or opposition to the proposed bylaw for rezoning of lots 37 in Parkland subdivision.
I see we have one hand raised, Mayor Beamish. Wanda Seltzer. I'm going to promote over to panelists so that she can address the hearing, and I will start the timer for 5 minutes on the clock.
Thank you.
And she should be coming over. There she is. I'll wait until she's unmuted and speaking before I start the timer. Can you unmute, Wanda?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Celia, the floor is yours.
Okay, hello, Mayor and councilors. Hello, Rebecca Anderson and anyone else that's behind the scenes there. My name is Wanda Seltzer, and I am here on behalf of the Sunshine Coast Affordable Housing Society. We support the development of affordable housing. We further support the Town of Gibson's Strategic Plan 2019 to 2022, specifically the commitment to increase the supply and range of safe, secure, and attainable and affordable housing options. We trust the town will ensure that the proposed units will meet its criteria for affordability. Therefore, we support the zoning amendment bylaw for cluster housing of 18 townhouse units. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Seltzer. Council have any clarification they wish to ask? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Corporate Author, you're muted.
I'm moving over Shane Dunlop. Mr. Dunlop, you're here. If you want to unmute, I will start the clock when you're ready to speak.
Sorry, it took me a little while to get there. I'm not sure I'm not showing up.
You're there. We can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, you can't see me. I was going to open and say, now you see a face to all the emails that I've been sending to the council, but I guess you can't. I'm not sure why, oh, hold on. Start my video. There we go. Now you can see me. Thank you. I'll try to be quickly here. You've seen the face. I'm happy to be, I'm a resident of Parkland, and I'm happy to be so, even though we had 4 months after we had the trouble with the geothermal. That's behind us now. We're happy with our new electric heat pumps and thank the town for their involvement of rebates and working with hydro and getting us going. So we're happy over that. I'm happy also with the town's garbage collection coming from a municipality that we used to have to change our date of collection after every long weekend. I just love what the town of Gibsons does, and I thank you for that. The development of the new Parkland area has an educational process for me, and I thank those that helped me through it. I must admit I was perturbed how things are happening because I didn't understand the process. I was concerned that the signs were set up and it looked to me like they were just trying to hide it, but I now understand that it's within the town's bylaws. I was upset with the province that an entrance off Reed Road was a municipal issue and the town of Gibsons said you were restricted by the Ministry of Transportation. Again, pointing fingers. We've expressed our concern about having everyone exit through only one entrance to the whole neighborhood. I know the fire marshal said he wasn't worried about it. I probably wouldn't worry about it either if I didn't live in the neighborhood. Some residents were also concerned at the added density of 3738, and we see the developer has kindly removed 38. I thank him for that. I have no issue with the 37 as it matches sort of the existing cluster that we have now. My suggestion is for the town to work with the developer to create a second entrance off Payne Road, since you can't go off Reed, off of Celia Crescent. To offset the extra cost, the town could approve the RCL for 38, and this could provide extra revenue for both the developer and the town tax base. Thank you for your time and ability to participate in this.
Mr. Dunlop, thank you very much for your presentation and for your emails. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions, Mayor Beamish?
No, council, any clarification or questions? No, seeing none, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We have another hand raised. I am moving over Mary Catherine Anderson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council people. I apologize about my strange video. It's going to be fixed soon. So I hope you can bear with me.
Very interesting.
I'm your neighbor. Pardon me?
It's very interesting, your screen.
It's something. Anyway, my name is Mary Catherine, and I'm your neighbor. I have a farm on Pratt Road, and I receive something from every single resident in Parklands, and I'm not sure they're aware of that fact. I receive all of your oil deposits. Even with the pond that you have, that still, I'm getting this information from Town of Gibsons Integrated Stormwater Management Plan from 2018. Even the piece of Parklands that contains the pond, I still get 20% runoff into the storm drain to my property. 90% from another part of Parkland, 75% from another part of Parkland. And for the two remaining parts that are going to be developed, it's going to be in the same range between anywhere like 20% in a pond up to 90% if there's no holding pond. Why is this happening? Because I have to say, anything to do with cluster housing is going to increase automobiles. And I receive all of the oil from the automobiles. Not all of the oil, but you get the idea. But why is this happening? This is happening because the stormwater mains are networked. The parkland is networked as a group, and the stormwater drain is run down under Payne Road across the IGA lot, and it comes out in a culvert right at where the Starbucks is on Highway 101. And there's a ditch that runs right up to Jasper Marine, which is the old Moti Road works. And if you go out and look now, that ditch is running and it's over 3/4 full already. And we haven't even had a big rain event yet. Now, the culvert at Moti is a riparian zone. It is a riparian culvert. It carries the Chester tributary, which is a meandering stream and dries up in the summer, across the 101, through the little bit of alders that the Gibson self-storage owns, and into our property. This creek, the Chester tributary, is 2 feet wide, maybe 1 foot deep. Traditionally, hasn't changed. On my property, it is now 10 feet wide. It is 4 to 5 feet deep. It is scummy, it is ugly. It is to council 5 years ago. And whether it was your staff or your council people at the time, they told me up and down, no, the stormwater mains were not networked. They told me I was not allowed to have a copy of the stormwater map, which is like, they told me it was because of public security and privacy issues. And now I took it to the RD at that time, and the RD told me that they would have a conversation with the Town of Gibsons and Moti to look into it and take care of it. I realized this past year that nothing ever happened, and I realized it the day that the geyser blew up, and the flooding happened right in front of Moti, or Jasper Marine, the right.
You're breaking up quite badly.
So
Mary
now
Catherine.
you've got federal infrastructure public hazard happening because of this accumulation. Gibson's solution, as far as I can tell in the stormwater plan, is simply to enlarge the ditch. It's already overflowing, it's already past capacity because of the additional component. And it's not climate change, because if you go to the Chester tributary above the Moti, where it drains down, it's still the same size and hasn't changed in 20 years. So there's a legitimate issue here. Now the thing is after my property, I'm getting huge property damage. Our bridge is washed out because of this. I'm losing a mature black walnut tree that's like worth over $40,000. I'm going to have to pay for tree service this year to take out danger trees. It's going to be around $5,000. properties that between the 101 and Cureton along Pratt that have contained the Chester tributary. And my neighbors down at Pratt and Cureton, they don't have a creek. You know why? Because the creek, this 10-foot wide by 4.5 feet deep, floods out their back properties. It floods it. Conversation officer was on my property for a site visit in August, and he told me he actually has taken a water sample of the creek from another resident's request. And that water sample has come back with 2 foreign bodies in it. Number 1, petroleum. Number 2, concrete aggregate, which goes back to Swanson's. So, you know, my mom has been filing notices with you guys for over 10 years about this and been railroaded and snuffed out. And road works and the property beside it have been bought by West Cliff Holdings, who owns the mall. They're going to develop it into your Upper Gibsons Village concept. They actually have, and this is all riparian zone, they have the riparian zone noted on it. And in their plan, they're going to reroute the riparian zone to the west side of the property. So in fact, the Moti riparian culvert will be left dry, except for all of Parkland's oil slick and all of the shopping mall oil slick, which is coming through our property and contaminating ALR lands. I don't understand how you can pursue development without having adequate information. And I do not understand disrespect your own OCP policy about notifying neighbors in boundary jurisdictions. And I do not understand how your solution is simply to enlarge your ditch and culvert so you can pump out more into a culvert that's already past its breaking point, as we witnessed last year. And I do not understand how, with all of your other stormwater systems that go into creeks and whatnot, you've done studies on downstream effects, all of them across Gibsons, except for this one. And the only reason, as far as I can tell, is because you don't want to bother with it because it's Moti jurisdiction and then it's Elphinstone jurisdiction. So there's a real problem here. There's legal exposure. It's not going to be under the rug again. Continue on this path of high density impervious development without having adequate infrastructure. And the stormwater drain on Pratt Road, dry as a bone. You've got all kinds of capacity through Charming Creek. Please route your stormwater there. So thank you for listening. I'm sorry I've been passionate, but this is a big deal and we're having a lot of expense incurred because of it. And you know what? I do think that the remediation is on the table with the town of Gibsons.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I don't know how to respond to that tonight. I mean, there's a lot of information in there that certainly I'm not aware that that's where our stormwater goes. And the director of infrastructure is not with us tonight, so he can't respond to that either. So we'll certainly ask him that question.
I can share a map with you. Yeah. I can share the map with you. I have it.
We have the maps.
Gibson stormwater sewer from 2020.
We have the maps in the submission you gave us.
Yes, but this is a new one I found, more up to date and more detailed and conclusive.
Councillor D'Andrade, do you have a question?
Thank you, Mayor. It's just because the connection is not great. So I could understand maybe 75% and I missed other parts. So I was going to ask if it's possible for Mary Catherine just to write a letter to Mayor and Council so we can fully understand everything and go from there.
Councillor D'Andrade, that is in your package for this public hearing.
Okay, so I didn't read it.
You have
well,
received
maybe I read, yeah, okay, so that's the one that, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
I
Mayor
would really
Kennedy.
appreciate a follow-up on this.
Yeah, we will
Mayor
follow
Beamish?
up. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
I see no further hands raised, Mayor Beamish. I think you could proceed, though, to call
Okay.
for a second or third time, if you wish.
Okay, I will call for a second time. Is there anybody wishing to speak for or against proposed zoning amendment bylaw?
I see no hands raised.
And for a third time, is there anybody wishing to speak for or against the proposed zoning amendment bylaw? Okay, seeing none, I would then ask that corporate officer to.
Sorry, Mayor Beamish, sorry to interrupt. I do see William Baker's hand is up in the attendees.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I was busy checking to see if any new emails had come in. I will move him over.
Okay.
Thank you, Director of Planning.
Mr. Baker.
Okay, it looks like I'm up. That's great. Thank you. Mayor Beamish and councillors, I have 2 points I'd like to make. First of all, I did send in a written submission on this issue. I'm very concerned about the carrying capacity of the town, and I've made that point a number of times, wherein we don't really have an exact understanding of how many more houses can go into this small 4-kilometer square piece of property, and what the current zoning looks like in terms of being able to run that out. I really think it's time to put a pause on all of these upzonings so that we can really get a handle on what exactly that all means. We know that we have a limited water supply. That's certainly one of the carrying capacity issues. But what about other infrastructure issues? We just heard about stormwater management issues. I'm very concerned that we are charging ahead and we really don't have a really well-researched handle. Now, I understand that there is a water study going on, and that's great. But I think before we start upzoning, that we need to have that study in hand. My second point has to do with the offer. $56,000 seems awfully small for the value of this upzoning and what that would mean in terms of the value to the developer. Why is the town of Gibsons not having a bigger portion of the value of that upzoning? I know that I don't think we have a final change to the compensation plan that was being put forward, but just seems awfully small for what is about to happen. So those are the main 2 points, but one other one that I want to make, and this really has to do with the people who are living at parkland. You buy into a development with a developer's vision. You look around and you see, it's wonderful pictures and lovely brochures. And here's this magnificent new development that's going in with single-family homes, maybe a few duplexes, parkland. I mean, it's called parkland, and it all presents this wonderful picture. And then someone comes along and wants to change that. And I think that's a bit of a betrayal to the people who bought into that development and expected the development to unfurl the way that it was promised. So I see this as a bit of a broken promise by the developer. And if the town authorizes this upzoning, it's really a slap in the face, I believe, to the people who put their hard-earned dollars into that parkland area and had reasonable expectations that the vision that was created and that they bought into would in fact unfold the way that it was promised. My suggestion is to turn this upzoning down, perhaps put things on pause while we understand where we're going with the town of Gibsons and its ability to absorb rampaging development, and really make sure that we're not going over that cliff, that huge cliff, where we get to the point where our carrying capacity can no longer carry the development that's going into the town. And then what happens to the people who have developable property? They didn't get in early enough, so now what? They have to sit on their property, or what do? Do we truck water in? Do we try and get some from SCRD? Doesn't have any. I mean, it's a real issue, and I think it's an important issue for council to really grab a hold of before going on the rezoning machine that keeps on coming up. I am very concerned about where this is all headed, and I would ask council to be concerned as well. And as a result, I would encourage council to just punch a pause button, turn this one down, and get the information needed in order to really have a clear understanding of where we're at and where we're going. And it seems to me that that's a job for our planning department, and to put it out to the community and let us talk about it, let us see it, let us believe it before we go over that cliff. Thank you for listening to me, and that's my submission. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Council, raise any questions for you? I see none, Mr. Baker. Thank you very much.
I will wait a bit longer and see if anyone else raises their hand for the final round of submissions. I see no further hands raised.
Okay, thank you very much. And I would now ask the corporate officer to note and present any written submissions received during the public hearing.
I have received one. It is from Wanda Seltzer, who addressed council earlier. I'm not sure if it is the written of what she spoke to earlier. I think I will read it out, just rather err on the side of caution and read it. It's a brief one. So this was arrived by email during the meeting. Mayor and Council, my name is Wanda Seltzer. I am here on behalf of the Sunshine Coast Affordable Housing Society. We support the development of affordable housing. We further support the Town of Gibson's Strategic Plan 2019 to 2022, specifically the commitment to increasing the supply and range of safe, secure, and attainable and affordable housing options. We trust the town will ensure that the proposed units will meet its criteria of affordable housing units. Therefore, we support the zoning amendment bylaw for cluster housing of 18 townhouse units. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. There'll be no further input. I hereby adjourn this public hearing, and I thank everybody for their attendance and for their very respectful and helpful participation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, staff. Thank you, council. Thank you.
Thank you.